All right, welcome everybody. We're live now. We're live on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us in this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. It promises to be informative. We've got a lot packed into this session today. Our guest and our coach for today is also already in the room, but just to make sure that I'm not speaking to myself, could you please type in the chat if you can hear me, and also let me know if you can see my screen. I know you won't be able to unmute yourself at this point. We'll get to the time for that, but please let me know. Can you see my screen, and can you hear me loud and clear as well? I'll just wait for a moment for that. And today we'll be focusing on living in the UK as a global talent or living in the UK as a tech talent. That's going to be our focus today. I see your chat message. Thank you. Thank you. I see your chat message. Welcome. Welcome to this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. It promises to be informative. It promises to be inspiring. Our coach today will be sharing about our journey to becoming a global talent. And also, more important as well, we'll also be focusing around living in the UK as a global talent. Thank you for joining us. And eMigr8, we focus on tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement. Today, we've got a packed edition for you in this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. We'll be starting, I will be sharing some things around what eMigr8 is and also what eMigr8 is not. We'll be talking about what we are trying to do, why we exist, and what our mission and our vision is as a community, eMigr8. Next, we will then go to our coach for today, Chibby Dangana, who will be speaking around our own journey, around our journey to moving to the UK and then living in the UK as well as a global talent. We have a bunch of bonuses for you today if you wait till the end. One of them will be talking about some free resources that you can get access to as a for Tech Nation visa. So there are a couple of free resources that we'll be talking about at some point during today's session. In addition, we would also be having opportunity for our open consultation where you can unmute yourself, you can come on stage and ask any question from the facilitators and the coaches available, and they are able to answer you to the best of their ability. We also have a bonus around moving to the UK within a 3 to 6 month period, which we would touch on briefly in terms of some of the things that you can do along that line for that particular campaign. And also finally, we do have some resources as well and some freebies for our most engaged eMigr8 community member that we'll be talking about during the session today. And so as I mentioned, it's a packed session. We also have some information for you about changes that are going to be happening in the Tech Nation visa route. Some changes that will be happening in the Tech Nation visa route very soon. We will also be talking about those things that will be happening. And so we have a lot going on today. I will mention that eMigr8 has been running sessions for a while now, for many months now, and we have a lot of these sessions recorded with video recordings available for you to take a look at, for you to get access to information around different people from all over the world, that countries of the world have said they are globally attractive. Countries of the world have said they are global talents, and they've been able to move to different countries of the world, from the US to the UK to Canada to North America and several other countries of the world where they've been able to move to using different tech-enabled routes or the other. We've also spoken about the Australia Global Talent Visa in one of the editions of this eMigr8 Open Day. We've also spoken about 5 tech-enabled visa routes where we picked one visa route per country, including Germany, telling you about some of the tech-enabled visa routes that are available in these various countries. As I mentioned, today we are focused on living in the UK as a tech talent, and we are focused on the UK Global Talent Visa. In our last edition, we focused on the UK Startup Visa, and we also focused on the UK Innovator Visa. In our next edition of eMigr8 Open Day, we'll be speaking around the US global talent route. Many of us may not be aware that the US, the United States as well, has some different global talent visa routes that are available to people who they consider as globally attractive. We'll be talking about that in our next edition of the Open Day. For us at eMigr8, you may be wondering, what do we do at eMigr8? eMigr8, we focus on helping you become globally attractive. That's our main focus at eMigr8. And we do this in two ways, either a globally attractive tech profile or a globally attractive tech business. We believe that the visa itself is only a side effect of this globally attractive objective. We believe that many countries of the world have made different visa pathways available, particularly if you are a talent. This is available all over the world. And many countries that are forward-thinking already understand that they need these talents to come to their jurisdiction, to build their economy, to pay taxes in their economy, to bring innovation into their economy, to run their startup in their economy, to bring their tech skills and so on to their economy, to help their economy become one of the best in the world. Many forward-thinking countries of the world know this already. And so that's the reason why all over Europe, you will hear all sorts of startup visa routes that are being created or have already been created and are currently available today. Some countries are already talking about legislation to bring more routes to make them available. The UK, for example, has the global talent visa, is coming up with the scale-up visa, is coming up with the point-based system, and several others like that. Ultimately, for every one of these countries, what they want is that they want the best of the best from all over the world to come to their country to build their country, and by extension, help their country have an edge around other competition. You would ask, who's the competition for other countries of the world? These are also, other countries of the world. And this is why eMigr8 is doing what we're doing, which is to say we want to help you become globally attractive. And if you become globally attractive, you would have many options. You would have many options of different countries where you can move to, because the visa itself is only a side effect of a bigger objective. eMigr8 services, we do a lot of things for free. And we have services that are also premium, because we run a premium, a freemium model, which is many things free, but then we do have some premium things we charge for as well. Some of our services cover things like information sessions. This session you are in right now is one of our information sessions, the eMigr8 Open Day. It covers general inquiry. It covers coaching and holding. It covers assessment, preliminary assessment of whether or not you qualify. It covers helping you build a self-directed roadmap to you qualifying for this tech-enabled visa in 1 month, in 3 months, in 6 months, in 1 year, in 2 years. It doesn't matter. The point is that these things are available, these visas are available, and you can qualify for it, particularly if you're a tech talent. Even if you're a beginner in tech, you can actually get into tech, because tech is one of those fields that has a low barrier of entry to getting into tech. In addition, we also help with a roadmap to you becoming globally attractive. We can handhold you on that roadmap as well to help you become globally attractive to qualify for those visa type. If you need help, for example, with the Technation visa endorsement application, eMigr8 has a service for you. You even get some of that free of charge. If you need help reviewing your application, because one of the things we advise is before you submit your application, let someone knowledgeable about the process, let them take a look at your application for you. We can help with that. If you need help with your endorsement review process, if you do not get the endorsement on your application and you need help submitting a review, which is like an appeal to not getting the endorsement, eMigr8 can help with that as well. So in terms of some of the services, as I mentioned, we run a freemium model, many things for free, some things we charge for at a premium as well. So information and inspiration for free. Our eMigr8 community exists in different social media platforms, WhatsApp, Telegram, LinkedIn, YouTube. Even recently, I understand our community managers have decided to go on TikTok. That's fine as well, because what we want is for people to be aware that these opportunities exist and for them to keep striving to make the best use of these opportunities. We run our monthly open days. Currently, we do that twice a month. We have introductory videos that you can get access to get as much information as possible. We run the eMigr8 open consultation session. We also run a visa ambassador office hour once a week. We run short inquiry sessions as well. For now, because of capacity, we are limited to just one short inquiry session per person. And so we advise that before you book a short inquiry session, please take a look at all the other information that are available. Watch videos of past open days, do your own research. And so when you are coming for those short inquiry sessions with one of our coaches, what you will be doing is asking questions that you cannot easily Google. You'll be asking questions that is directly related to your own unique circumstance, because everybody is different and everybody has their own unique circumstances. In terms of the premium side, we have eMigr8 Circle, which is a premium community for people who are in the eMigr8 community and who are now more committed to the journey of becoming globally attractive, and also people that countries of the world have endorsed as globally attractive. These people are in the eMigr8 Circle. We run personalized coaching sessions, usually 30 minutes to 1 hour, depending on what it is that you need at every point in time. We have the eMigr8 premium services, we have the standard services, and we are also able to customize packages as required. Recently, we launched the Move to the UK in 3 to 6 months campaign. We'll speak about that shortly. And those are things that you can find in eMigr8 community. If you're interested in any of this, you need to indicate interest with the URL on the screen, and then also you can look at some of the services and request for a specific service, whether paid or free, using the URL also on the screen. That's blog.bincom.net/emigrate pricing. We have the eMigr8 community. The URLs are on the screen, and we ask that you engage with us, ask questions, like, share, comment, and chat with us and all. We're trying to build a community of people who are interested in this pathway in itself. In addition to this, we also have, one moment, please. Apologies for that technical challenge. Yes, as I was speaking about that, eMigr8 is organized by a company called Bincom Dev Center, and Bincom Dev Center has other services aside from eMigr8, which is the tech-enabled visa pathway. Bincom Dev Center has the Bincom Global Tech Program, which is a program that enables you to learn skills, gain experience, and gain exposure in the field of technology. It helps you to learn tech now and pay later, because the company is also able to decide to invest its own resources on you, to say you can learn now, and then at the point when you start earning high income in the field of tech, you can start paying the company back most of the fees. If you're a beginner in the field of technology with 0 days or years of experience in the field, you can actually join this program to start your journey from scratch, and we will be able to guide you through the entire process. Also, if you're at intermediate level in the field of tech and you realize that you need the right combination of experience and exposure to be able to get to the next level in tech, this is also a program for you. For those of us that are highly skilled and highly experienced in the field of technology, we are always looking for mentors that can help us mentor many of the people that we are bringing into the tech world. And so if you're interested in that, you can register using the URL on the screen. One of the things you realize is that if you want to show yourself as globally attractive, one way that you can do that is by mentoring other people. But Tech Nation specifically will say to you that if you're not mentoring on a structured platform, then it doesn't count. Beacom mentoring platform is a structured platform that can help you achieve this. We also have the Labs by Beacom. This helps you to build a product-led digital technology with a team of people. It's a 3 to 6 months program, and your team will be a team of about 3 to 10 people where you can create a startup from scratch. We'll guide you through the process. We'll guide you with also practical learning. It's an opportunity for you to be able to improve your career. It's an opportunity for you to be able to build a portfolio as a techie. We also have the Headhunter service. This is only available in the UK for now, but we're looking at launching in other countries as well. It is tech employment and recruiting service for individuals. What we do with the Headhunter service is to help you land your next role faster. We help you to build the relevant experience that you need in your target country, and also connection with tech recruiters also help you to be able to be that person that your next role is actually looking for. And that's what the Headhunter service would do for you. It will help you with jobs that can sponsor your visa if you need that, particularly those that are already in the UK. It will also help you if you are planning to move to the UK in the future as well. For some of us, you may want to take a screenshot of this slide because it says a lot in terms of some of the tech-enabled visa pathways that are available today. This is not an exhaustive list of visa pathways. This is not even an exhaustive list of tech-enabled visa pathways, but this is just to show you as an example that these pathways exist today and you can make the best use of them. The lowest common denominator for all this pathway is that be globally attractive. If you are globally attractive, you would have options, and those options are some of these visa pathways. We've spoken about many of these pathways in previous eMigr8 Open Day, and if you're interested in any specific one, you can go and look for that specific information for that specific pathway. We promised that we were going to share some information around some free resources that can help you, particularly around the Tech Nation visa, the UK Global Talent visa for the field of digital technology. It is endorsed by a company called Tech Nation, and that's the reason why it's also called the Tech Nation visa. Some of these free resources starts with the Tech Nation visa guide. If you're interested in this visa pathway, please read through the visa guide. It will take you an hour or so to read, and we advise you to read it the first time. It may seem very daunting, but then read it a second time over as well. This resource is available to you today. Number two is there's a discourse community. The URL is on the screen where a lot of visa alumni are always available to help, to answer questions, to guide, to answer anything that you may find as a challenge, anything that you may find that you need help with. There's a community of people that are always committed to say, oh, fine, let's try and answer as many of these questions as possible. The URL is on the screen. Tech Nation office themselves have also come up with an office hour type event focusing on different regions of the world, including Africa, for them to say, oh, fine, they want you to help directly from them. You can find that resource online as well for you to be able to ask questions, for you to be able to get guidance, for you to get information, and so on. Finally, we do have the Tech Nation Visa Ambassador Office Hour. Currently, it holds on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. GMT on Zoom. The link is on the screen. It's a 30-minute call where you can come in, and if you have a question around anything at all, you can come in, and a visa ambassador or an eMigr8 coach is going to be able to be available to answer those questions as well. For those of us that have gotten our endorsement already, for those of us that have moved to the UK already, we have a bunch of resources available for you as well. The Tech Nation Visa alumni community is absolutely useful. There's a Slack community. There's also a community on LinkedIn. The Slack community is much more active, and it is very helpful for you. We also have eMigr8 community in country because we have a lot of people that, we've helped. from eMigr8 community that are currently in the different countries, particularly in the UK. And so that way you can also get help as you need it. We have a document coming out, which is the welcome party document. And there are several other things that you can take advantage of. A few things before I hand over to our coach for today's edition, who is going to be taking us for the rest of the journey or up until the point where we'll get to question and answer. Something else that you may want to know, particularly those of us that are already preparing our application for the technician visa, are some changes that are going to be launched very soon on this particular visa route. Some of these changes, we already know about them unofficially. If you have been part of the eMigr8 community for a while, you probably have heard about some of these changes before now. If you are part of eMigr8 Circle, you've already received some information. eMigr8 Circle is a premium community. You've already received this information as soon as we became aware of it, in terms of the fact that it's going to be official now. Number one is that for the exceptional promise route, it is now capped at 5 years in tech. This was unofficial before. It was not actually in the guide, but it was something that we were already familiar with. Now, 5 years in tech doesn't mean that if you have 20 years of experience and then you got into tech after 20 years as a lawyer, then your 5 years starts counting from the day you got into tech. So 5 years experience would be if you're a total beginner from your 0 months to 5 years, or if you are an experienced person but not in tech, then your 5 years starts counting from when you jumped into tech. Number two is that your evidence that you submit, it must have relevance within the last 5 years. Basically, whatever it is you are submitting, it should be within the last 5 years. This also was not officially in the visa guide before now, but this is something we've always advised members of the eMigr8 community to make sure that they talk about. There are people who have done stuff maybe 10 years ago, 2012, 2013, 2014. Those things don't exactly count because they don't want to have past champions. What the UK would like is people who are current champions in the field of technology. Finally, your letter of recommendation must contain how the author knows you as the applicant. They must state it specifically to say this is how they know you as the applicant. They must also state your achievements in the field. They must also show and say why they consider you as either exceptional or as promising in the field. Also, the letter must contain contribution that you would make to the UK digital economy. This was already in the guide. However, we see all sorts of letter of recommendation, particularly for those that we coach, whether in the free sessions or the premium sessions. And people sometimes misunderstand the fact that they want to see all these things, because the reason why they're asking recommenders to recommend you in the first place is the fact that these recommenders are able to say, oh, because we consider this recommender as a globally attractive person, and this recommender is saying this other person is globally attractive, so therefore he is likely globally attractive. So please bear that in mind in terms of some of the things if you are submitting your application for the Technician visa specifically. Also talk to us. If you need help, we are available to help. 10 minutes is free. Sometimes that's all you need to give you the right direction in terms of what you need to do part-time, particularly with this route. Recently, we launched the move to the UK in 3 to 6 months, and this particular campaign focuses on the UK startup visa and the UK innovator visa. We are aware that some people want to move from their home country immediately, but they do not yet qualify for the UK global talent visa. This is an option for you to move quickly. In the case of the startup visa, there is no pathway to settlement. However, there are things that you can do, and we can advise on that towards the pathway to settlement. It's cheaper if you're already in tech, or if you're just even getting into tech. It's cheaper for you to actually do this rather than the student route, because you can work full-time in the UK from day one of you getting to the UK, as opposed to the student route where you would have to wait for 1 year before you can work full-time in the UK. If you're interested in this, you can use the phone numbers on the screen to send a WhatsApp message, and we'll take it from there. I mentioned some freebies that we'll be sharing today. One of them is this community bonus that we're currently running. And it's around the fact that we are now rewarding our most engaged eMigr8 community members, and we're rewarding them with free coaching sessions, which is worth $700. And how to win is just to become the most engaged community member for the month. We are prioritizing quality over quantity, but I mean, the two of them is much better. So if you have a combination of quality and quantity, this is even better than just sending out, just trying to do quantity without quality of the engagement. You can like, share, comment on our post. You can invite friends and colleagues. You can ask questions, and there are people in the community that are able to answer those questions. You can share useful information about any tech-enabled visa route, not just the countries eMigr8 is focused on. You can make suggestions and so on. I've taken much more time than I wanted to, but I thought it was best for us to be able to get all this information upfront. We would also be giving and sharing a bit more information about different things that I mentioned at the beginning of this after the session with our coach for today. Also, if you have questions, please drop them in the chat. We will be prioritizing questions in the chat before we prioritize the eMigr8 open consultation that we are hoping we'll have a bit of time for that. For the open consultation, you would have to have your video on. We can't spotlight you on Zoom if your video is not on. And so if you would like to come on stage to ask a question, if we have a bit of time, we'll be able to take one or two of that as well. But if you have questions, please drop them in the chat and we'll be sure to jump on them as soon as possible. Thank you so much, Chibby, for honoring us with your time today. Over to you.
Thank you, Bade. Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here. Very informative and well done on everything eMigr8 is doing. I think we had talked, but I'm just seeing everything, like as you're reeling it out, is, really impressive. So well done to you and the team. And yeah, good evening, everyone. I'll just jump right in. Bade, would you give me a bit of a sign when I have like 5 minutes?
That's fine. I'll just drop it in the chat.
Yeah, cool. All right, guys. So good evening. You're welcome to this session of, eMigr8 and eMigr8 Open Day. And, my name is Chibby Dangana, as Bade had introduced me. I am a Tech Nation visa alumni here in the United Kingdom. I moved here in 2020. And, I'll give a bit of a background. I know really I'm supposed to be talking about life in the UK, how I got the visa and life here. But, just to kind of encourage, a lot of us here on the call, because I assume everyone here is aspiring to moving to, to migrate as a tech talent. And really as it is, the truth is, I remember when I heard about the visa the first time, the name seemed a bit scary. When I saw global talent, I was like, wow, I don't think I'm a global talent. You kind of judge yourself or feel you're not up to it, and kind of feel, what have you done? What were your achievements? So I'm starting by encouraging you that it's not impossible, because I didn't consider myself a global talent. I think one thing was that I was bold, to even take the step, and then some of the things I jumped on as well before I even started the application. So me as a person, which is, would form some of the things Bade said about being globally attractive, as a tech talent or as an individual, how do you really stand out? And I think for me, those were some of the things I had as my anchors, even before I applied for the visa. So I had them going for me. So for some of us, these are some things you're probably already doing or you want to start doing. In my career, in the course of my career, I call myself a solutionist. So I'm constantly looking for problems to solve. So I get into an organization, I have my job description, but I'm constantly looking for how to help, how to volunteer, how to, unlike some people that say, no, it's not my father's company, I'm not, So, these are some things I thought I would throw out there as well, because sometimes you look at it and you're wondering, okay, what have I done? To a large extent, when you look at this visa, it's not largely just, oh, I've done this, I work in this tech company and I've done this. There's a lot around volunteering. They want to know, how have you served? What have you done in your country? And these were some of the things that helped me stand out. And, like I was saying, in the course of my career in the space of volunteering, I got to also do some work with the Ministry of Health in Nigeria. And I think that was one of the factors that really made me stand out. And, you know, when I was doing this work, it just seemed like, this is not really, you know, I mean, I was enjoying it. I wanted to, you know, give my time. I wanted to support. So the organization I was working with, I was seconded to just volunteer there and support them build their data management system. So I was in some committees there, you know, and you wouldn't really know that this would help you in the future, right? But I was just doing it, you know, happily and going there to support in and outside office hours, you know, just giving my time. And so anyways, when I heard about the Global Talent Visa, was my husband that sent the link to me and said, have a look at this. It was the first time I was seeing it. This was in August of 2019. That was the first time I was hearing about it. So I looked at it, I'm like, okay. But like I said, I was just pulled. When I saw, I wasn't paying too much attention to, it's called Global Talent, or what have you done in the tech space and all that. I wasn't really focusing on too much of that because I might have been discouraged. But what I did was I took out the, you know, looked at the link, started reading out the requirements that, you know, I needed, no, not just for fintech, sorry. So I started going through the requirements one after the other. And, you know, without processing too much, like I said, you know, sometimes you don't even know what you've done. You know, sometimes just take a journal and start writing down what are the things I've done or what are the things I do at work. And you might be surprised at the, you know, impact you've probably made in your space. So like I said, for me, there was a lot of volunteering, and there was also a lot of skills development. Now you also, to be relevant, your skills need to be relevant. I was having a conversation today with a colleague. I met him for the first time and he was asking, oh, what do you do your skills? And a lot of times I just find myself doing, I started as a project manager, I build databases, I do data analytics, visualization. I've also led partnerships in my, so I find that you know, and I'm not saying be jack of all trades, but the truth is when you work in certain organizations that give you that exposure, I'm working as a project manager, I find that business development needs help. Like I said, I start supporting them in that regard. So these were some of the things and skills that I probably, you know, threw in while I was in that space of wanting to, you know, move. So there's volunteering and then there's skills development. Those are two things that I will point out. Anyway, so I started putting my documentation together. Now, some of you might have looked at the list, the technician website, to find out what were the things, you know, you have qualifying criteria, key criteria, and all of those things. And I took them one after the other. Another thing is documentation. I had to start, sometimes I'm looking for emails. Oh my God, I went for that conference. I didn't take a picture. There was this conference I spoke at in Nairobi a couple of years before that. And I realized that I didn't even have one picture of me presenting at that conference. And, you know, those were some of the things that would have made me stand out as, you know, like for my evidence. So I remember I went to Google and just searched for that conference. I found it. I saw the brochure and, you know, I was there, yours truly. So I just took a screenshot and picked that URL, put in my application. So these were all the things. So I think on the course of your own career, these are things you probably want to pay attention to. Your achievements, you know, along your journey. Are you documenting these achievements? Because sometimes you don't know how important they will be or where they'll come in handy. And there were trainings I had attended, you know, putting all of them together. And then, like I said, I, you know, volunteered at the Ministry of Health. So I got, you know, one of the directors there to also write a recommendation letter for me and also write some of the things I did, you know, just submitting a lot of these things. And like I said, some of the work I then did as a volunteer that I didn't think was going to count. This was me reaching out to people I worked with to say, oh, look, that job I did with you, can I get a documentation or can I get something to show that I volunteered my time to support that project? And, you know, all of these things were documents I pulled together. I hope I'm not leaving out anything, but yeah, these were things like pictures, you know, I found some pictures in my, you know, my current role at the time where I was making presentations to donors on the, you know, some work I had done, you know, and then basically impact. What were the things I had done that had impact? And so put all of those things together, sending my application. I wouldn't jump and say my application went through. I was declined. My initial applications, I was rejected. But like I said, I was so bold that I thought, no, I had to get this visa. And I won't even tell you what I put in my appeal application, because you can send in an appeal. But let's just leave the content of that, you know, appeal application that I had to put in. So I put in my appeal and, you know, in less than 10 days, they wrote back to me and said, oh, you've been accepted. And I'm like, wow, you know. Anyways, jumped right in. In fact, let me tell you, because I think sometimes we need to say these things. I'm a Christian and I like to celebrate these things because
don't forget this is being recorded though. So just to mention that.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing complicated, you know. So this was just me saying, I think because I was so confident about the content that I put in the first time, I'm not saying you should do this because yours will be different. But like I said, in me putting in my, appeal, I just said to them, can they clarify the things that they might have wanted to see that I didn't submit the first time? Because I thought, that's what I'm saying, I was confident in the initial application. You might try this, it won't work for you, but this was what I did at the time. And they replied me and said, oh, they reconsidered, they looked at the application again, and I thought it was good. And that's how I got my visa. So anyways, coming into the UK, I had a job already. I was working in a company in Nigeria that had an office in the UK. So it was quite easy for me to transfer here. So you might say, oh, she had it all easy. But 18 months into my, stay in the UK, I then had to leave that job. There were a few things happening around there, and I just thought it was time for me to move on from that role. And, as a tech talent, you just feel, I'll just jump out there and I'll get jobs. And that's why I appreciate some of the things Bade and his team are working on, because you don't just jump out and jump in. It's good to give people the real picture of what happens when you get here. It's not, if you don't have that guidance, that support, that community, you might really get here and get lost or get stuck in and thinking, oh, I'll just come in and I'll jump on a job, which some people think. But with the right guidance, the truth is, yes, there are jobs. So were there jobs? There were jobs available. Was I getting them? I wasn't getting them, So at this point, you're just thinking, trying different things, but ultimately I knew that at the time, I didn't think I was ready to start up my own thing. I was quite pleased to, I saw myself in that corporate 9 to 5, in an organization still serving. That's what I thought I wanted to do at the time. So like I said, I was looking and, until I started ticking the right boxes, which I'm sure, like I said, eMigr8 will help with. There are things around your CV, there are things around interview preparation, and until I started ticking those boxes, LinkedIn profiles, you don't even understand, like a lot of these things have, their roles to play. So sometimes you're thinking, no, I know it, I've done this, and I have all of the qualifications and I've done that. And you're seeing the jobs, you're thinking, no, I've done this, I've seen the JD, my roles, and you apply for them and you're getting declined, so it was kind of tough as well settling in. Cambridge as well was a city I hadn't lived in as well. I didn't have friends in Cambridge. My family and friends were in other parts of the UK. So it was actually tough settling in, and that's why you need a community. So many things. Was also COVID. I mean, things are opening up now. So coming in here also had its own, there were things you would need to, or, I find that people struggle. Of course, you need to try and get your children into school. So there were all those things around settling in and things that it entails. So, don't overlook and think, when I get my visa, I don't need all of these people. I just jump in and all that. So everything that you're hearing him say, oh, there's a community here, there's a community there, everything is relevant because you don't know the power of that community and the power of information, that would help you on your next step. Bade, of course, I met along the line in that my journey where I had a skill gap, with my job. I can't remember. Okay, it was through Tech Nation. Someone mentioned, oh, you should speak to Bade. And I looked him up on LinkedIn. I'm like, I know this guy. Bade and I actually went to uni together. And I'm like, oh, I know this guy. And I reached out to him and we had a chat. It was quite encouraging, and he gingered me a bit, that kind of thing. Had a few conversations. It wasn't long after that yes, at the time I was now talking to him about an idea that I had that was going to birth. We had conversations, very helpful, Bade. I don't know if I said thank you, but thank you for everything. Sometimes you just need, and like I said, you need people. You can't be isolated. So Bade was also very supportive on my journey to transitioning into a new role setting up my own tech startup. So on this journey, like I said, while I was in between jobs, I also started my own company called Reach. If we have time, I'll probably show us. If not, I'll just post the URL in the chat box. And very similar to what Bade's talked about on their own community. It's a community. What we're doing on Reach is, I realized that I struggled. I had gaps that were not clear to me. My children would have probably just been sitting at home if I didn't have the right information, the right contacts. You just think you'll come here like in Nigeria and go to a school and they give you admission. It's not like that, So a lot of those things, information that I felt if I had it or if I had somewhere to plug in and get them would have been helpful. I didn't have it at the time. I wasn't also aware of I don't think I was part of the Tech Nation community at the time. I don't know if it existed in early 2020. I can't remember. It did, but I wasn't part of it. Yeah. So anyway, so these are some of the things on the gap. So from my own pain points, I decided to launch that digital community where we help migrants, ethnic migrants, so not just Nigerians, ethnic minorities, because we find that one thing I found is that a lot of the policies that exist in the UK might have been set up or made probably without ethnic minorities in mind. You're making your policies based on your citizens, like, you're British citizens. And so we find that some of us actually struggle getting through or have to go, through some bottlenecks before we achieve what we want. So, that's what we're doing on Reach, also hoping that, with the right hands, the right voices, we can inform policies, decisions that would impact on, ethnic minorities moving into the UK. We also support with have like a product called Set Me Up. So people coming in and you just want to hire someone to say, I need a job, I need a school, I need a bank account, I need a house, I need an accountant, all of those kind of things. So yeah, that's on the side though. So my journey here really had its ups and downs. I wouldn't say it was all rosy all the way. I had my bumpy moments, but like I said, with a community, with the right people, you're able to scale that hurdle. So like I said, when I did the right things and ticked the right boxes, ensured my CV was a certain way, ensured LinkedIn was a certain way, I was so content in my LinkedIn page that I thought, oh no, it was okay, it was fine, could get a job like that. You think I don't need anybody, I know it, but the truth is, you don't know. As in, it was just one thing I did on my LinkedIn page. And after I did that, you could just find that recruiters just started reaching out, and you're wondering, really? So, so the truth is, get writing, get the resources you can get, and that is kind of like a lot of the things they're doing, they're free. A lot of these services, you think this information, they don't matter, but, I'll tell you categorically, they matter, especially before you come in so that you can be prepared. So engaging, asking questions, don't be shy. The other thing is that I know from our background, Nigerians, we're not very well spoken in our space, but a lot of times we get a bit timid when it comes to certain things or certain areas. And that's something you can't even afford to be or do in this space, especially being globally attractive, preparing yourself. There are also soft skills, but I don't know if those are some of the things you guys do uncover as well, soft skills, because the truth is people come here and they just as in, I'm not trying to be discriminatory, but sometimes you work with, you're wondering, really, did he just say that? Or, because I work with colleagues as well, and you're wondering, the truth is we Nigerians, we limit ourselves in the mind, our mindset. So you get into the workspace and you enter with an inferior mindset. You think you're below these people. You think and don't overlook this thing. So in as much as you're preparing to migrate, get yourself ready mentally, prepare yourself mentally, have the right soft skills, communication, networking, because, you're on call sometimes and for people to even do you have anything to add? Just say no, and you're there. And that's how we are we're not really ask the questions. Even when I had the most stupid things to say, I would always make sure before I leave that meeting room, they hear my voice, So these are some of the things that you find that the environment we are coming from, when you come in here, you also need to be prepared, you need to be ready to enter the marketplace. It can get crazy out there, so you're dealing with the technical side of probably trying to get embedded, into maybe the organization you're working with, what they do, how they work, but very importantly, how you work is very important, and these are some things that I believe will make some of us really stand out. And, I think it's about time that, even, I just really imagine, I think you're doing it already, Buddy, but I just imagine that, assuming these were things that we had maybe from primary school, secondary school, because I was speaking to a colleague and he said, oh, from primary school, they start to teach them these things. And I was like, wow. And this is me, an adult at age what? And you're just learning it, but these guys have started to learn these soft skills. They've started to teach them from such a young age. And these are the people you're competing with. You're coming into, well, maybe the UK or whatever country you're looking to migrate to. And you're going to be competing with these people. So I would say one thing, that while you're working on your technical skills, do not neglect your soft skills. They're very important in this space. They're very important in the ecosystem. A boss told me once that she would rather pick someone with, like she can trust than someone that is technically sound. So don't think, oh, I know this, I have this certification, and you pack all of those, your CIVPE, FGGA, PMP, Cisco, all those things, you pack them up. You can be placed beside someone that might not have as much as you have, but probably has a track record of, consistency, loyalty, being a good communicator, like think about the soft skills that, would probably, tick the boxes of maybe some employers. And sometimes these are the things they look out for. So in as much as you're building your tech skills, I'll also advise you to build your soft skills as well and not neglect those areas. And then, yeah, like Bade said, coming in as well, I think the Tech Nation community, they're really, really helpful. And we're quite lucky because there are other global talent visa avenues like the arts, the sciences. Trust me, they don't have communities. I know people in those areas, they don't have the community. So I think Tech Nation has done very well. They have a community, and there's no, people ask all sorts. I've seen someone posting, oh, who is available this Saturday? I'm bored. Are you in central London? Can we meet? I'm like, huh, really? So that's to show you how people don't care. They just put it out there. They're ready, and people will respond. Sometimes they plan things to do together. So it gets easier, but it's not necessarily like you're walking in the park. As long as you're in the right community, you have the right set of people around you. I think, you'll find it less hectic. I don't want to use the word easy, but yeah, you'll find it easier. Let me use the word. You'll find it easier settling in into the country here. And Tech Nation, I would also say, has been also very supportive. Like even as I started my own my tech startup, as I launched it, just even them being able to support, promote what you're doing. You also have that platform on the Slack community. I think we're over 1,000 now, so that's already free publicity for you, what you're doing. Engaging with people, they're of different ethnicities, different cultures, different backgrounds. So there's not that fear of, oh my God, I'll be lost, or what will I do? Where do I go? So all of these things, like I said, with the right support system, honestly, the sky's our limit, and there's so much we can do. I know we Nigerians, we're really talented. There's so much that we have to offer. So I'm just really glad and excited about this sort of platform, that at least there's something like this kind of prepare people, to be ready for, the marketplace out there globally. Because, there's a lot of opportunities. And, interestingly, I hear that we have a good Nigerians and Indians. I hear like for the Tech Nation visa, about 50% of the visa, what's it called? 50% of people that get the visas are either Nigerians or Indians, which was very impressive. I was quite excited about it. So I just really want to encourage you guys. Like Brady said, even if you don't have the skills already, you can start to build up those skills. You can start to identify, so what areas are relevant in the tech ecosystem here? You start to identify the areas, the gaps. That's what I used to do actually. Because even when, like I said, I had the the job gap, the job window. Another thing I did was ensuring that my skills were still relevant. Because you might have one certification and you think, oh no, they need this, but where you're going, where you're located, and in the UK as well, of course, almost like in Nigeria, there are different cities, different counties. Some cities or counties might have a certain need of a certain skill, while some might not. Like here in Cambridge, Cambridge is a tech hub. So you have the Googles, the Amazons and all that. I love them. Their HQs are here. So it was a coincidence, not like that's what brought me here, but I'm just trying to say that you identify what niche, what area, what city, even while you're doing your application. Because what I also find is, when I was applying, another thing I did was that I also had to identify where my skills were relevant. Naturally, I might have said I'm applying to London because they'll ask you where you want to go to. Many people just say I'm going to London. But London is quite saturated. There are loads of people there. That might reduce your chances. But I mean, the eMigr8 team will advise you better. So it's actually while you're doing your research, you're trying to identify what are the counties, what are the cities in the UK that have gaps in what areas. Like when I did mine, I actually identified that, like Hertfordshire was one of the areas that I picked, which is one county here in the UK. And I realized that they were looking for females in STEM. They had a skill gap. So I knew that if I said I was applying to that location, it would also help my application. So location is also quite key when you're trying to target where to come into here to settle in, because they needed my skills. So I wouldn't say I'm going to London. Maybe if I had put another city that they were saturated and they had enough of that. So it wouldn't necessarily be that you're not good or your skills are not relevant. It would just be that there was a mismatch. Yeah, so those are some of the things I'll advise. And, once you come in, you're not stuck to that location. Like right now, my office is currently in London, even if I live in Cambridge. I just started a new role. My office is in London. So I would go in and, it's remote work. So when I need to go in, I'll just go in there. It's not too far. But ideally, I think moving in here there's a lot of strategy, involved. And that's why I would advise you nicely place yourself in a community that, they've tested it, they've tried it. Bade is an ambassador in Tech Nation. And, with all of this information, trust me, you can't have enough of it. And, with the right hand holding, I believe that we can rightfully start to position ourselves properly to get, to make ourselves attractive to some of this visa, what do they call them now? Exactly, visa communities, recruiters. I also know people even hiring directly. So, but I don't know if there's that thing, because you might be there, you're not applying for, but there are organizations that are looking for talent, in Nigeria as well. So it's really how you're positioning yourself for those opportunities, information. Are you getting it? Because there are quite a number of organizations I know now that, that are hiring as well from, looking for tech talent, especially after Brexit. So post-Brexit, they are open to hiring. They're looking for anywhere, as long as you have the skills, please. And because of retention, they believe that when they bring you in, at least you're committed to the organizations. So for some of them, they feel, okay, that might be an edge for them, but Buddy, you're laughing. I don't know why. So there are loads of opportunities. And if you have the skill, if you don't have the skill, I think if you're on the score, you have the ambition, to migrate. And, I just want to encourage you that, it's possible, it's doable. Don't undermine your skills, don't undermine your experiences, network, talk to people, communicate, be part of communities, ask questions and all of that. And you'll just be a stone throw from migrating, as a tech talent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chibby. I've got a bunch of questions, some coming from the community and some that I noted as well. You said I was laughing is because I know of one of the people in the community, one of our eMigr8 successes actually, that 6 months after is already jumping to another role.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, so it's it's relative at the end of the day. But the point is, I would like us to start by, let's talk about the visa process before we then focus on living in the UK. I would like you to also share with the community about Reach for maybe 1 or 2 minutes, but let's focus on the visa first, and then we would also take questions that we're seeing in the different communities. I'll remind our audience as well that if you have a question, please drop it in the chat. We will be taking questions from the chat first of all. So let me start by the question of, in terms of applying for the visa, I know it was a couple of years now, right? A couple of months at the very least. But do you remember what criteria did you apply under? Was it in terms of leading talent, innovation, impact, recognition, academic? I know you're not in the academic line anyway. And then do you remember what documents you submitted to support each one of those ones? You don't have to specify the names of the document, but we'll find that this is helpful for the community, particularly those that are trying to apply.
Okay, I applied under the exceptional talent route. Then I think, you needed to have minimum 5 years experience, and so for me, I think I'm also quite unique in that in the space, and that's why you see a lot of, I fell under the the business route of the tech, like the tech business. So I'm more of the strategy person, right? I'm more of the anchor. So like you might call me like a solutions architect, that type of role. So I'm not necessarily doing the building. And that's why when I saw it at first, I thought, my tech talent, I thought it's those people that code, only when you code, you're a programmer and all that, So yeah, that was one of the things that stood out. So my skills is that I get in there, identify the gap, and I find out how we could use technology to solve the problem. So that was like my core, that I presented, and how I've used data to support projects to make informed decisions. So as part of my evidence, I had things like trainings. Training was very relevant. I think then you must have attended the training in the last 12 to 24 months. Mm-hmm. So I had a training I had attended that was relevant to my application. It was on data use. So I did the training. So once again, learning. I attached the training certification. Like I said, I had spoken at a conference in Nairobi, and even if it's spoken locally, it doesn't matter. I attached that conference schedule and the topic, what I presented on at the conference. I also attached, like I said, letters from, a letter, apart from the recommendation letter. One of my evidence was also a letter showing that I was a member of the committee at the Ministry of Health in Nigeria and the role that I played. Another piece of evidence was, I talked about the URL already linked to the conference I did. Even pictures. I had one evidence of just a picture of me making a presentation to like some donors, and I just had a caption to support it. So I had photos as well. Can I remember what else? Those were the key things, that I can remember that I submitted in my application.
Thank you so much for that. And I believe that was helpful. What about recommenders? I mean, you don't have to name them. This is being
right. Okay.
But could you just give us like a description of some of these recommenders and how they knew you? What did they say in their letter? And I know that was helpful in the application, and this could also help.
Yeah. So in the course of my career, there was this guy that I worked very closely with. He was a colleague that just used to sit beside me. But, interestingly, he built a database that the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs use currently. In fact, it's used nationally in Nigeria to collect data for orphans and vulnerable children, OVC. It's a software called Numis. So I work closely with him. And like I said, you're just like, oh, can I help you? When you're going for this training, can I go with you? And that was how we just, were working. And that software then became a big deal. It was now nationally recognized. And they said that was the, software everyone had to be using. So anyways, when this happened, I reached out to him to say, look, can you write a recommendation for me that I supported you? You were not paying me, but I supported. So it was kind of highlighting my voluntary work in that space, and knowing that that software was nationally recognized was a big deal. So not just that I volunteered. The other thing that he highlighted was that nationally it had been adopted as a national reporting platform, and I had supported through the journey, to getting it to where it was. So we never planned it, but that's how it happened.
That's one recommender. What about the other two?
The other one was my current employer.
Okay.
So the other one
is easy to get from your current employer.
So that's the thing. So Buddy, that's what I'm saying. For me, sometimes because I was wondering how would they feel? They'll think, she wants to move out. But I just thought, look, what's the worst that could happen? And I reached out to them and said, oh, look, I'm applying for this visa. I think my employers are, like I said, I worked for a global company, even in Nigeria. So the guy, my employer then was even in Cambridge. I was in Nigeria, but he was in Cambridge. So I think maybe he was I don't know, he wasn't the typical Nigerian boss that might, I'm sorry, but you know how some people say, no, where are you going? You're not going anywhere. But he was quite supportive and open. He was a migrant as well. So he felt, oh my God, this is a nice opportunity. I migrated as well. I know the impact on my family. I'm happy to help you. So maybe I had already kind of gauged the guy to know that he'll be open to that kind of thing. Some people might not have been. But my current employer wrote me a good recommendation because it was a digital technology company, which is a criteria, not just any company. My employer was a digital tech company. They weren't necessarily doing anything of impact in Nigeria. So that's another thing to note. I'm not saying it must be. They were not doing anything of impact in Nigeria. They were just a digital tech company, and he wrote me a letter.
Yeah. And the third one, there were three, I believe.
No, when I did mine, it was two, Buddy.
Oh, I see.
I think my letters were 2 when I did mine.
They were 2. Okay. So current requirement is for 3 recommendation letters. And also current requirement no longer does the continuous assessment, which was one of the criteria Chibby mentioned. Somebody asked a question in the chat, which I can answer. If you just Google Tech Nation visa, you will find the visa guide there, and then you can take it from there. And maybe one of the eMigr8 community members can also drop the link in the chat as well. Just before we jump to around talking about Reach, because I would like you to share your screen and also just tell the community a bit about Reach. Let's take a couple of questions, and I'll remind the community again that if you have questions, please drop in the chat or drop in any of your communities, and then we'll be able to answer the question on this session. Somebody was asking, and I mean, you may not want to answer this. Someone was asking that what was the thing you did on LinkedIn to attract recruiters? You like should pay for coaching with Chibby, and then he will tell you.
I'm happy to say, like I said, these things might not be a big deal. Trust me, it might just be as little as your title. But what I did at the time was initially on all my, I had all my, everywhere I had worked, the organizations I had worked, my job descriptions, and in every of my roles, I put down the things, all the things that I had done, like all the tasks and my responsibilities, right? And someone highlighted to me once that there might be recruiters that might just go on there, look at it, and because usually when I'm applying for roles, I tailor my CV to suit the role. Do you understand? Because you've done several things. So when I see a job and a job advert, I would tailor my CV to suit the role and apply. But there were a number of recruiters that would go on LinkedIn and look at you, and then they look at those things I had there, because I think it was just blanket responsibilities, not like it wasn't relevant, but maybe for that particular role, I might have done 10 things in one role. I can't put everything on LinkedIn. So maybe the 5 I put coincidentally are not relevant for that particular role. And then I didn't highlight, because I think I was also applying for specific types of jobs, but I kind of limited it to a lot of the items that I had as my responsibilities were, like I said, my skills are quite diverse, right? So what I did was I had to say, look, Chibby, you need to identify a niche. You had project management, you had data use, you had partnerships, and what are you positioning yourself as? So when I identified which of the areas I wanted to position myself as, I picked one, because before I think I was trying to lump everything up. So a recruiter will come there and look at it and it wasn't suitable. So first of all, what I did was I stripped out all my responsibilities from my roles. That's what I did. I stripped out everything. So if you see my title, if you want, you call me and I tell you what I did there. Because I didn't want you to make a conclusion on me based on the responsibilities I had listed out there. So I thought I was putting out useful information, but I kind of think it was holding me back. I mean, that's one thing I noticed. So I stripped out all my responsibilities. So you would just see maybe partnerships lead, this year to this year, finish, the name of the company, the next role. Before I would write summaries and all that. You could probably write a summary, but I just stripped that off. And then I highlighted in my summary on the profile, I stuck to data strategy. So I left project management. I left, because sometimes we want to write and tell them we've done so much. So I stuck to one area, which was data strategy, and made my profile specific to that area, not trying to capture myself as jack of all trades. That's one thing. And then the role titles, yeah. So those were the things I did.
No, thank you so much for that. Before we get into the open consultation session, I think we would have time for 1 or 2 people to come on and ask specific questions. Chibby, I don't know if you want to share screen and tell the community about Reach. eMigr8 community focuses on getting you to your destination country with a community, but Reach is also focusing on building a community. And Chibby, please go ahead.
Thank you, Bade. So this is my baby, my tech startup. It's called Reach, like we said. So this is it. The caption here says it all. You're finding it hard integrating into the United Kingdom. So this is for you. And like I said, we're looking at, our focus is on ethnic minorities. So there are a couple of things that we do. The first one is the community, which is the core, because I understand the power of this, community and what it can do to speed up your integration into the country. The other one is the integration services. So you might also be like a business that wants to come in and set up. I'm a business in Nigeria. I want to come in and set up my business in the UK. This service called Set Me Up might be for you as well. We can help you get set up, everything from start to finish for a new business, also for an individual that feels, I know someone that said he stayed on Airbnb for 6 months, he couldn't find a house, so it's really, I have people also saying, I'm coming in November, can you start to give me an idea of what to expect? So those are the sort of things like, it's a service if you want to subscribe to the service. And interestingly, one of the things we're doing is we're also talking with institutions as well. Like we're currently talking to a high street bank that would support in this area where as migrants are coming in, as migrants are coming in, they could start opening accounts, because we find that bank accounts are also another area where you can open online bank accounts, but sometimes I know Nigerians want to walk in, they want to know that this is the building, and if you don't have a bill or an address or a tenancy agreement, you can't open an account till after 3 months. Or, some banks kind of make it like, so these are some of the areas where I said, another thing we're doing is trying to inform policies. How can some of these policies be reviewed to suit migrants coming in? And then the last one is for SMEs, businesses in the UK. So BAME businesses, ethnic minority businesses, helping them highlight their businesses and also link them up to the audience, because we believe, like when I came here, I couldn't find where to braid my hair. I needed to buy palm oil to make my beans. I couldn't find palm oil, and I didn't want to just go. I like to go to places based on. So I wanted, if I had somewhere to chat, ask questions. It's later I realized, there were many places you could even order. It comes to you the next day. But if you're not really communicating, asking questions, you might be limited with the information you get. So yeah, this is us. We're also, like I said, I'm a data person. I love data. So we're also reading out statistics on migration and other sectors that we'll be looking at. So this is the part about the businesses we're working with. So it's basically, and then we have a feed. This is really the community part where we have information reading out there daily. Sorry, it's loading, but this is our feed basically. I think look and feel will change. So our feed will come to the homepage, in the next few days, where as you land on the landing page feed. So anything gist about, settling in. We also have groups tailored to suit different needs. If it's that you're a foodie, you like food and you want to talk about food, where to get what kind of food, you can jump into this group. There's for jobs, there's for students, resume review. There's so much. And then we're working with quite a number of partners in the ecosystem, like especially around the job recruitment and CV. We're working with some partners that's their area. So kind of collaboration, like they say, collaboration is the new competition. So really, and thank you, Buddy, for the opportunity, because you can see we're doing similar things, but it's not about I'm doing it already. And that's why I appreciate Buddy, because we're doing similar things, but like I said, he's been very supportive to everything I've been working on. So thank you.
Not a problem, Chibby. Thank you so much as well. I'm sure there's a question in the minds of people. Can the people join by faith? So if I'm not yet in the UK, can I join now because I know I'll be in the UK next year? Or is this restricted to just people that have UK postcode?
Well, actually, the idea is for migrants coming in. I think your community, Bada, might be for when you're not here, because the community right now is focused on you're here and you need help getting set in. Or I have people that are not here, but they have their visas and they're coming. So I don't know. It's yeah, that's where we are for now.
Yeah. So So just taking a couple of questions. So if you would like to come up to ask a question, you can raise your hand. We need your camera to be on so that we can spotlight you, and then you can ask your question. Please be aware that this is being recorded and live streamed on YouTube. So don't share any personal information you don't want online, but you can ask specific questions to your own specific circumstance, and the eMigr8 coaches will be able to give answers. Please be aware that this is not immigration advice. This is not legal advice either. What we're just doing is sharing information based on the knowledge that is available to us as at today. Somebody asked the question. So if you are interested in that, there's a Zoom feature for raising your hand. If you just do that, we'll be able to see you. And then based on that, if your video is on, we'll be able to share screen and we'll be able to spotlight you, and then you can ask a question. Somebody asked a question around our service charge and so on. You can find all of that online, and the URL has been dropped. Somebody asked a question about being in Malta and that care assistance certificate. So eMigr8 community currently focuses on only tech-enabled routes. However, even if you have 0 years experience in tech, we can get you to qualifying for one visa or the other within a 3 to 6 months period. That's actually what the move to the UK in 3 to 6 months is focused on. So eMigr8 does not focus on the care visa, which is something that a lot of people are doing at the moment, particularly for the UK. And all we are focused solely for now on tech-enabled visa pathways and you becoming globally attractive so that you have many options, particularly in the field of technology. If anyone would like to ask a question, you can raise your hand in the Zoom and then we'll be able to bring you up at that point. Chibby, I would like you to advise our community. So we have a diverse community, and there are 3 major categories of the people in our community. And I mean, they are here because they are interested in tech-enabled visa pathways. And one category are beginners, 0 years experience, 0 months in tech, or maybe 1 year, 2 years in the field of technology. And they are wondering, what should I be doing right now because I'm in tech? Second category are people who are more intermediate level, 4, 5, 6, 7 years experience in the field of tech. And they are also wondering, is there something for me? Is there something you can advise me around right now? Third category are people who are experts, highly experienced, head of IT, experienced developer, senior project manager, many years of experience, 10, 15 years of experience. And they are also wondering, is there any advice for me as well? I don't know if you could speak to each one of those categories, and then I'll come back to ask you on 4th and 5th category that we've decided to highlight as well.
So the first category, so you said the beginners,
intermediate, and then highly experienced, advanced.
Okay, so the early stage, for the early stage, really, like Buddy has said, anyone can really get in, but I'll ask a question. What drives you? That same question I ask my kids, for example, that, you know, as we're talking about career, what do you love? The truth is, you might even get into any of the streams and you get stuck in a field or in doing something you don't like. So as a beginner, you're in a good space to identify, what do I like doing? And that's why you have this sort of community. Then you say, oh, I actually like, because for me, I like proffering solutions. That was what started to take me. So I started to look out for opportunities. Oh, what can I do? And I knew I wanted to I started my career being a back-end person. That's how I started in database management. I knew at the time, maybe because I wasn't very confident, I wanted to be at the back that you'd be wondering, oh, who is doing this thing? That was one thing that was, you know, so when I heard about database management at the time, it was Oracle I certified in. I knew that I could help to build systems that people will use. They will log into the front end and use, and having a lovely user experience. So that was one of the things that started to drive me. And I was looking for what are the things I could do in tech. I knew I wanted to go into tech. So what drives you? What do you like? What do you love? And then you talk to people that are skilled in the area to discuss your passion or your strengths. And I'm sure, like, you know, the coaches will be able to advise you for this sort of skills, for this sort of strength, for this background, you should probably consider a career in XYZ. That's what I'll say. For the intermediate, you've tested the waters, you know what the ecosystem is like, you probably have identified your niche already. What I would say is enhancing it. So for the people in the intermediate stage, I would say enhancement. So skills, trainings, don't say my company didn't pay for me. Invest in yourself, invest in your skills, you know, building it out, networking with people, very key. See, like my last 2 roles before I left, even this role, everything is networking. Like I would just sit down and someone is calling or reaching out, oh, can you send your CV? We saw a role you're relevant for. I can't underestimate the power of networking in my career. A lot of times there were roles I thought, how would I have, but I was referred. Do you understand? So for those as well, I would also highlight that. Then for the experts, similarly, I would also say, don't underestimate the power of networking, especially looking to migrate. I would also say, build your soft skills. So for the experts, building your soft skills, very relevant because you're an expert. So I can't overemphasize. You've identified your niche. You know what you like. You know what you want. But I would say your soft skills are very important. So look out for courses. courses on leadership, courses on team building, courses on networking, courses on communication. Build out your soft skills. I promise you it'll be very relevant for this journey that you're embarking on. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I'll just mention again that if anyone would like to come on stage, you just need to raise your hand in Zoom and then also switch on your camera so that we can spotlight you and then you can come up to ask your question as well. Chibby, two subcategories, right? I mean, they're in this category already, but two. One is people who are currently ready to apply for the technician visa. What can you advise them? And then second subcategory are people who currently are in the UK, for example. They're in the UK, but they are not on a pathway to settlement. And so, of course, it means that their time is counting and they're also wondering, what can I be doing right now? I don't know if you could advise those two categories of people who are members of the eMigr8 community.
Okay, so for the first set of people, you're looking to apply. So what I'll say is, you can set a timeline, because I set a timeline as well. So when I applied Badi, it's a bit funny and you would know better. So when I applied, there were windows, but I hear now there's no window. So there were windows where, you apply between September to October. So in my mind, I thought, if I apply to, maybe they finished issuing all the visas and I won't get any and all that. So I think I just identified what date that I want to apply by. So I set a date, I set a timeline, and I started to gather my evidence, right? So I gave myself a timeline. And the truth is, I remember even my employer recommendation letter didn't come in until I think 12 midnight before I was to submit next day. Because I told them I had to submit on X date. Do you understand? So I would say identify a date, start to gather your evidence. Of course, you have the service here. And don't isolate and say, I know it all. Ask questions, learn from people that have gone through the process. They can review your documents for you. But I would say, set a date and start to gather your evidence, or you could even start by journaling, like I said at the beginning, just thinking about your career, your journey. For those that probably are exceptional talents, for the exceptional promise, you don't necessarily need to have a lot of experience like gather from the last time. I don't know if the rule has changed, but even if you've not done much, just in whatever you've done, I would just say start to journal and note down, which was one of the things I did. I was just writing down what are the things I've done. And when I was writing, I'm like, oh my God, I've done all of this. So you never know, at the top of your head, you might get discouraged, but no, just jumping and start to write down, highlight your achievements, on your past roles. You could even talk to people and say, what do you think I've done? It's amazing what my colleagues tell me that I've done, or some achievements that I probably didn't remember. So have conversations with people and also engage with community like this. And then for the next set of people, can you iterate it so that they're on a route that is not to settlement?
Yeah, so they're on student visa route or different route that does not have a pathway to settlement in the UK, and they are also looking at, they need to switch their visa sooner than later. And so any advice for them? I mean, it's all right to decline to, if
what did you say last?
I said it's all right to decline to comment to.
Okay. I mean, I actually know someone in that category that was in that bubble as well. They want to do the post-study work. So what I would say is, I mean, there are different routes to it. One of them is, of course, this technician visa. I would say if you've identified and you know this is where you want to, settle, that's the UK, it would be to identify what are the different routes. So someone I know as well also tried the technician exceptional route. It didn't work. I think the person then switched to, was it I can't remember which one, but basically I would say, start to prepare yourself, start to gather yourself for, based on the requirements. You might still be studying now, and you're not there yet at the point of, application. But like Bade said, this volunteering, for example, in his community, as an example, is helpful. So don't underestimate the power of, like I said, volunteering and building your skills. So even if you're a student, I would say you identify what are the requirements and start to see how you can gather them while you're studying or post-study. So even if you have to switch to the post-study work, which someone is doing right now that I know, you have a plan. You're working towards something, so you might be on post-study work maybe temporarily because you don't have all the requirements yet. But I'll just say, just have a plan, have a target, like I said, for the beginners as well, or those that are trying to apply. Set your dates and, just identify the skills you need to build, or where do you need to volunteer. I would overemphasize, I can't overemphasize the power of that volunteering. You never you don't know the power of that thing. So volunteer as much as you can and build your skills, your capacity till you're ready enough to put in your application.
Yeah, on the thoughts around volunteering, I actually had a question for you on that, and I'm coming to that. But just final call on this. If anyone would like to come on stage, you need to raise your hand on Zoom and also switch on your camera, and then we are able to bring you up live so that you can ask any specific question that you may have. Chibby, in terms of volunteering, for both our audience that are currently in Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, or anywhere in Africa where they are, or our audience that have already migrated to their destination country and they are still looking for a pathway to settlement, do you have ideas of some places where they can volunteer today, some places where they can do, I don't know if you have some ideas on that. Is there anywhere where they can find some information on that?
I mean, in the Nigerian space, I might have been able to suggest, although it's quite restricted, so I won't even comment on that. I'm not sure, like in this space, I know some NGOs, like they maybe Save the Children's or like UNICEF. Some of those NGOs are usually open to, volunteers. I know some organizations are also open to graduates is different from graduate trainees are different from volunteers. But I think at the top of my head, I know NGOs like maybe Save the Children and some of the UN organizations, I see them putting out ad for, volunteers, people that are willing to serve, people that are willing to work. So for now, the top of my head, because I did most of my volunteering there. Since I got here, I haven't had the opportunity to do much. But I think I'm quite limited on that knowledge.
Thank you so much. And then I wanted you to expatiate on the soft skill as well, because it's one of the things you've highlighted a lot, particularly in this session today. I don't know if there are some key soft skills that you believe that members of the community should be building or should have already built by the time that they are moving, not as just an immigrant, but as an expatriate to their destination country.
Soft skills, right? Or just skills?
Soft skills, generally.
Soft skills. So for me, I think soft skills, one is, soft skills, I think the first one I'll highlight is communication. Communication, I can't overemphasize it. Like, there were times where, because like I worked in a global company in Nigeria before I came here, and, there were times where I knew that we weren't getting there's a way you communicate certain things. It's not just talking. And when I say communication, it's not just talking. There's also the emotional intelligence part of it, knowing what to say, knowing how to say, and knowing the right way to say it. So communication is not just talking. There's a twist of emotional intelligence there. And I think that's where I think we need work, based on our own culture, our background as Nigerians. So I'll highlight communication, because you'll be in meetings, you'll be communicating with people, you'll be mixing with people, and knowing what's the house, it's very important. So I'll highlight communication skills. I also highlight leadership skills. Now, many people say I'm not a leader. I don't need leadership skills. No, I'm still just a beginner, but the truth is you're a leader in your own space. So whatever portfolio you've been giving or job you've been giving, you're a leader in that space. That's your own turf. And that's how you start to grow. And, it kind of gives you an idea of how to position yourself or how to even treat people in the workspace. So I'll highlight, communication skills, I'll highlight your leadership skills, and I'll highlight that team building, the team spirit, because that's also another area. There's usually that, no, let me take the glory, let me take the shine. There's always room for everyone. So I would really highlight team building skills, being able to be a team player. A strong team player is also another skill that I think will be helpful for anyone that wants to be globally attractive. So communication, leadership, and team building, not team building, team
spirits.
Team spirit, that whole team, being a good team player, basically, that's it.
Oh, thank you so much for that. We'll be coming back to Chibby for our final words and just giving some maybe more advice or just reiterating some of the things she has mentioned before. But I'll just say a few things that we mentioned at the beginning of this session. First of all, is don't forget the bonus that we're doing for the eMigr8 community at this point. We're trying to drive engagement in our various communities. And so we are going to be awarding free coaching sessions to our most engaged eMigr8 community members. And all you have to do really is like, share, comment, invite friends and colleagues, ask questions, and so on. And you do get coaching services worth $700 or much more. If you do any or all of these things. We are rewarding quality of engagement, not just quantity. We will be happy if you do both, but quality more than quantity. We have a campaign that we're running at the moment around move to the UK in 3 to 6 months. It's focused on the UK startup visa and the UK innovator visa. In case you do not yet qualify for the UK global talent visa and you are interested in moving quicker, you can decide to use this route, and there's a pathway towards settlement that you can work towards as well, even for the visa types that do not directly have a pathway to settlement. I will also just mention some of the services that we've talked about, that with us at eMigr8, we focus on you becoming globally attractive. These are some of the services that we do. We've been talking about the Tech Nation visa today, though we focus more around the living in the UK part of it rather than the application part of it. We've done a bunch of other open days where we were focused on the application process, 7 steps to endorsement, and you can find some of those videos if you ask for them. And all these are some of the services that eMigr8 covers. We do a lot of things for free, but we do have premium services as well, because we run a freemium model where there's some free and there's some premium services. Some that are free are on the screen, some that are premium are also on the screen. You can, if you're interested, you can go to this URL to indicate interest. And also, if you're interested in a specific service, you can request for that service. We have an eMigr8 community that we are building focused on people who are interested in tech-enabled visa pathway across the world, not just the UK. Our focus today was the UK Global Talent Visa. The last edition that we had, we were focused on the UK Startup Visa and the UK Innovator Visa. The next edition that we are having, we are focusing on the US Global Talent Visa. It's called I can't remember the name right now, but there is a visa type for in the US for global talents as well. And we focus on all sorts of tech-enabled pathways like that, Australia Global Talent Visa, several others that we focused on, and we will focus on French Tech Visa and so on. In terms of other services within Bincom Dev Center, we have the Bincom Global Tech Program. If you're trying to get into your career in tech, or you're starting from the beginner level, you can join this program. It builds you by helping you learn skills, gain experience, and gain exposure in the field of technology. Also, if you've already learned the skills, but you realize that you don't have the right combination of exposure and experience, this service is for you. We have the mentoring platform available as well for people who have experience and are interested in mentoring other people. It's a structured platform, and that is available. If you're interested in building a product-led digital technology company, you can take a look at Labs by Bincom. It's a 3 to 6 months program, and you would be working with a team of people, usually between 3 to 10 people, to build a startup from scratch. One key thing is that your startup will have real life users using your solution. So it's not just going to be something in local host that has never launched. Instead, you would actually launch the startup, you market it, you get users to use it, you would improve your career, and you also improve your portfolio. For those in the UK, we also have our Headhunter service. It's also a form of coaching service, but focused on tech employment and recruiting services for individuals. We help you land your next role faster. If you are interested in finding roles that would grant you certificate of sponsorship, the Headhunter service can help you get that faster than you would have. We help you build the right relevant experience in your target country, particularly the UK for now. And then we also help with connection with technical recruiters and so on. The lowest common denominator, as we've always said, is that become globally attractive. And if you do that, you have option. We also spoke about some free resources for Tech Nation visa earlier in this. We also spoke about some changes to the Tech Nation visa route also during this session today. And we spoke about our move to the UK in 3 to 6 months as well. Those are things we spoke about during today's open day session. So that being said, Chibby, I don't know if you have some final words for the community. We've been speaking for about 1.5 hours now around this particular topic of living in the UK. as a tech talent living in the UK as a global talent. I don't know if you have some final words you like our community members to take away.
Yeah, I mean, I just really want to say, just believe in yourself. I know it probably sounds cliche, but believe in yourself, believe in your abilities, take advantage of communities, take advantage of such meetings. I mean, I didn't have this luxury, so take advantage of the resources you have around you, take advantage of the communities, learn as much as you can, network as much as you can. And yeah, I'm sure your dreams will be at your fingertips in a short time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And from me, I would just say, please take action. You've gotten a lot of information right now. One of the ones Chibby was saying, if you were listening carefully, is that you should prepare, even if you know that, oh, you're planning to migrate in a year's time, then maybe there are some things that you should do now so that when you get to the UK, when you get to the US, when you get to whatever destination country you are planning to relocate to, you will be able to find your footing faster as well. She mentioned quite a number of things, and you may want to just think about that. In addition, she focused a lot on volunteering, focused a lot on documenting your journey, and these are things that require you to take action. Don't just say, oh, I've heard this thing, I've been hearing these people for the last 1 year, 2 years, and so on, but there's nothing that you have done about the information that you have received. We are not better off than the person that didn't know at all. The best thing that you need to do is that, oh, based on this information, start the journey. Even if you are starting today, then you know that, oh, this is what I'm going to be doing, and these are some of the things I'm going to be doing. And yes, so that being said, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you to the audience. Thank you for joining us. And Chibby as well, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. Fantastic to hear about the launch of Reach, and we're wishing you the very best. I'm sure many of our community members would also be trying to sneak into that community, right? But we hope that they do join, and we hope that they engage and engage and engage as well. These resources are available. These resources are free. And take advantage of the things that are available